And good Monday morning. I'm your friend Scotty Ray. We start this Monday together, November the 7th. Right now, could be some light fog where you are, and 67 as we wait for a little bit warmer weather today into the 80s. We'll get into the forecast and break it down for you in a moment. But as we start this, keep in mind, no matter where you are, some low-lying areas can have that fog. We are showing that we do have some areas that's pretty thick, so plan for this before you leave the house as we pull this up. Jones Junior College in this area down here around Laurel showing a lot. And as we go to the west, Jackson, Mississippi, if you've got to go that area, and of course down in the Natchez area. But as we go north, it is getting extremely thick. Let's show some signs here of what we've got starting up here just north of us as we go into Winston County. If you start anywhere along here on 25 from J&S. Now, when you get to downtown Louisville, right past the lake, it's thick here, but when you get to this line about where Walmart is and Winston Academy and northward toward the jail, look at the difference in the thickness of the fog. Very, very thick. These lanes, these roads here are 2-lane. Also, if you're going to be leaving town from Louisville, headed over to Macon, as we'll look at 14 here, a lot of thick fog all the way out here past Bethel Baptist Church. So if you're in those areas, caution this morning as you make your travels. We don't want anyone hurt. It could be a mess with this fog, and we don't want anything to happen to anyone. So drive careful today, no matter what you're doing. How was your weekend? I do hope good. A lot went on over the weekend. A lot happened in downtown Meridian. The full moon on 5th on Friday night. Also, we had the Railfest Saturday. We'll look at a few of those pictures that went on. Of course, Soule, the Steam Festival, happened this weekend. Saturday, a little bit wet for everybody, wasn't it? A few fender benders here and there. We'll get into all of that here in just a moment. As we see Lonnie Timms is up. Good morning to you. Hope you have a good day, Joyce. Good to see you there from Hickory. Pat and Jim Coker's up. Let's see, Bubba Johnson's up from Bubby. How are you? I almost read that wrong. Bubby, good morning. All the way from Quitman this morning. From Union, we see Miss Kathy Sharp. How are you? LaWanda's up. Also, Lamar. Good to see you there, my friend. Oh, we got Why Not checking in. Brian McCary. I think we got something going on this weekend. And Why Not, if I'm not mistaken, a car show and a few other things. We'll get to that in a moment. As always, we like to start our Monday off with a good note. Let's go out to Collinsville to the First Baptist Church. And Brother Ben's got a little message for us about judging. I think we've all done that once or twice in our life, haven't we? If we were to be honest. Where's Brother Ben? Tell us a little bit more.
You know, it doesn't take much at all, really, to get something in our eye and to cause a lot of pain. The smallest speck can hurt so badly, leaving us begging somebody to help get it out quickly. But Jesus says while we should definitely help others out with their eye, we should be way more concerned about what's in our own eye than in theirs. Theirs may be a speck, but we should see ours as a log. He used that illustration in Matthew 7 to teach us to be careful about judging others, because we will be judged by the same measure we judge them. Therefore, we should be way harder on ourselves than on them. We should see our own issues and sins and shortcomings as much bigger and more serious. If we follow Jesus' teaching here, it'll humble us and make us more gracious and merciful, and in the end, more helpful to others. Couldn't our community use more of that? Change begins in you.
The Change Begins in You is brought to you in part by Piggly Wiggly of Collinsville, Patrick Allen Companies, Mitchell Tire and Wrecker in Collinsville, and Mowdy Cabinetry. A good message there. Hope we all get a little bit of something out of that each and every weekday with Brother Ben and the good folks there. Hope everyone is feeling well. Dorothy Ford, I see you're up, Adam. You know, I'm sitting here thinking, hey, when was the last time you had homemade biscuits? I haven't had that in a while. I've always been on the run. You get those that are pre-made. But boy, homemade biscuits sure are good when you can get your hands on those, aren't they? Well, let's look at a few of the headlines that are going on this morning as what has gone on over the weekend. As usual, we've had a little gunfire here and there. Now, we haven't had anybody wounded or any damage that I'm aware of. We had one area of Meridian last night that saw gunfire above the rest. We'll go just north. Let's pull this up where you can see this. Let's just go north of Highland Park. 40th Avenue, 34th Street. Here's Highland Park. If you go due north of there past Highland Baptist Church, up by West Hills Elementary, right up in this area here is where we heard gunfire last night. Now again, no one hurt, no one injured in that area, but we did have reports of it last night. We also not far from there on 39th Avenue had gunshots reported. Around 24th Street. This would be about 2 hours in between each other, just due of Royal Road here in this area right here. It's south of Highland in that area. Again, no one hurt. Each instance of this, we heard somewhere between 5 to 7 gunshots, somewhere in that neighborhood. Sometimes it's hard to count when all that rapid fire is going on, but that was the case that we saw there. Now, and we'll bring some of this stuff back up beginning this morning at 8 a.m. as we'll go live on television and all, too. Over the weekend, we saw a huge rise in crime. And I've told you this before, we're going to see more of this in between now and Christmas. If you own a business, please monitor your businesses, especially over weekends. Sometimes and not everybody can afford an alarm. They don't have it or just hadn't taken the time, whatever the case is. But I urge you to get one in between now and as these holidays begin. We want you to be protected, know what's going on at your business. As we saw on Saturday night, actually it was Friday night as you woke up to Saturday morning, a lot of burglaries happened. A lot of mischief. One of these did receive a lot of stolen products. As we pull this story up as we go into this, we know of at least 4 businesses that were broken into. As you'll see here, the pictures here at Cane's, they gained access right to the drive-through window. Now, they would go in and do what they normally do. We would move, as you'll see there, busted the window out. They had to cover that up. And we moved right down to Dairy Queen. They've done the exact same thing at Dairy Queen. Now, again, there's not a lot left in businesses like this overnight. They grab a few things of what they can. That did happen in those. We move next as we go past the Dairy Queen window there to Hair Queen. We go down to 8th Street. As you'll see here, the doors where they broke in to the store here to Hair Queen on the side. They would take a lot of product from there, a bunch. In businesses, it doesn't matter whether you've got insurance or not. Sometimes your insurance deductible is so high because you have to keep it to where you can afford it. We know that. But the business, and if you're going Hair Queen, where do I know that from? Here's a street view of that. If you look at that, here's a bigger picture, if that will focus out. They're on 8th Street. I took that Saturday morning during the rain. That's why it's so damp looking. And then we would move next to the other business that was struck would be Tractor Supply. This was also hit Friday night. Now, I do not know what they've gotten out of Tractor Supply at this point, but this just goes on, and we'll talk about a few other businesses that were attempted break-ins. Alarms ran them off from them. I urge you, this is going to be more of this in between now and Christmas, as thieves want to take things that aren't theirs. We need to control this some way, somehow. And as we've often said, contact your city council representative or the mayor's office or the police of chief of police of Meridian, Miss Deborah Young, Jimmy Smith. Let your voice be heard in one way or another if you're tired of all this. We'll go to Saturday night. What went on Saturday night in Meridian? Eastern Gardens. We'd get reports of gunfire there. And again, with this, no one was injured, but gunshots did come out of there. Haven't heard a lot on this side of 45 in a while since we had those burglaries back in here. We did have shots fired there this weekend. Again, no one hurt, no one injured to our knowledge. We also 40th Avenue. I got asked about this several times yesterday. The last I'd heard, this may have involved an SUV in a drive-by shooting. Now, again, no one was hurt, no one was injured, but 40th Avenue, that was the scene there in the 4400 block as someone sped by and shot up in the air. Becoming an all too familiar scene in Meridian, isn't it? It is. We do hope that the crime is eventually taken care of. We do. Keep our fingers crossed for that. Vicki Stewart, how are you doing? Kathy Jenkins is up. Donna Roseman, good to see y'all. Shucktown. Joanne Grant joining us there. Donna White, good to see you as well. As we mentioned, downtown Meridian, although we had rain on Saturday, a lot of people turned out for the activities that were going on. It would break away, finally end after 2 o'clock into that 2:30. But Railfest was going on. If you had a chance to go down and take a look at this, and our little friend there, he was all over this, as they had Railfest there. A lot of people turned out for that. A lot to see, a lot to do there with that. And, of course, Friday night, let me see, I think I got some pictures from Friday night. I do. As they had the full moon on 5th on Friday night. Confusing. The full moon on 5th, you automatically think Well, and it was actually on the 5th, if I'm not mistaken, this time. As we pull this up, there we go. Again, they get the name from 5th Street, not the day of the month, but that's hard to, to keep track of. They had a band in the whole 9 yards downtown Meridian on Friday night. Hope you enjoyed it. A lot of artwork and this, that, and the other that went on in the area. A lot of folks enjoyed themselves. Saturday morning, we'd wake up to, and he's been kind of quiet lately. Our friend, we can't miss him, Naked Man, took to the streets Saturday morning. Since it was a little bit warmer before the rain, he would run down and do his usual loops through the area there on North Hill Street. A lot of folks seen him. Always let us know when you see Naked Man. Keep track of what's going on. Yeah, I don't know what to say about it. He's a frequent flyer or runner. Friday afternoon, we get ready, or actually it'll be Friday morning. We'll have a very special day, and I invite each and every one of you, if you can take a moment from work, or if you get off work early, a Veterans Ceremony coming to our area on Friday as we get ready for the service at 10:30. This will be at the Doughboy Monument. Hope you can make it out for this. We'll have guests tomorrow to come talk about this. Van Mack and the veterans will arrive tomorrow to tell us more about it, and the parade will come along about 3 o'clock. They're going to be providing lunch to the veterans there, and then 3 o'clock, the parade will begin at 9th Street and 25th Avenue. Hope you can make it for that. Again, veterans are what keeps us safe every day. Sometimes it's sadly overlooked, isn't it? We know that. Come join us. It'll be a large time. If you're feeling lucky, we start looking at what is going on across America. This is unbelievable. This may be the biggest ever. Record-breaking $1.9 billion for a lottery winner. Somebody's going to win it. Another drawing comes tonight. If you haven't bought yours, you can get them as low as $1, or you can do that, what is it, that Powerball for $3, where it increases how much you win. Huh. Good luck if you decide to do so. $1.9 billion. Always good to dream, isn't it? As we look at this will happen. I wrote down my times earlier. Coming up in the morning, if you're going to be an early riser, 4:17 a.m. tomorrow morning, or tonight, till 5:42, just before daybreak. The last total lunar eclipse for the next 3 years, it won't come back till 2025, will be in the sky tomorrow morning. Again, that's at 4:17 a.m. to 5:42. That's quite early. If you're an early riser, you might want to get up and do that. Most will sleep through it and hear about it and see a picture or two. I'll be here putting together the show, so if y'all get a picture in the morning of that, make sure to send it to us. We'll share it so everybody can see it. Mississippi State, in the last few seconds, got a win. It was barely. 39-33 over Auburn. So, as we get ready for the bowl game, what do y'all think is going to happen? State, Ole Miss, what becomes of it? I know at church yesterday, everybody was leaning toward Ole Miss. Of course, I'm a State fan. Dylan Ray went to school there. But doesn't change the fact that the odds are kind of leading hotty-toddy, aren't they? We'll see. Maybe I'm wrong. Y'all let me know. What are the counter, what is everybody putting on the bets? What is it? What's the spread this year? I haven't seen that. Boy, they're still celebrating, and LSU. Y'all seen this? Alabama got beat over the weekend. Whew, this is twice this year. A win. It was interesting there. A lot of folks upset over there, but of course LSU also will be fine as they took the field after the win. Fans stormed it, steamed across it. I think it's a $250,000 fine that they'll be hit with after beating Alabama. To them, I think they felt it was worth it. Shanna Conrad is going with Ole Miss on the odds there between State and Ole Miss this year. We'll see, won't we? Again, we'll figure out what the spread is on that because I have not seen that this year. Hattiesburg, someone's been arrested for a double homicide that happened there. A 48-year-old man and a 57-year-old woman were killed. I think 3 others were hit with gunfire in Hattiesburg. Rough area there if you haven't been keeping up with what goes on south of us. A lot always goes on there. South Haven, which is in the northwest corner of Mississippi, right before you get into the Memphis area, they've got 7 people that's been arrested for Shoplifting. It's a common thing, but boy, I'm telling you, this age is this next generation of crime that doesn't seem to care. Ages range from 17 to 25 years old. Huge little ring there of taking things that weren't theirs. Again, that's South Haven. Now, it happens here in Meridian. It happens in Kosciuszko. It happens in Quitman. Everywhere it does. We had someone in Meridian yesterday walk into a store, got him some smoke, some drinks, and just left. Refused to pay. I think we even had someone in Meridian refused to pay for the lottery tickets. Thought that once they got it in their hand, bye. Police were called. I want to say we even had to have a taser used last night with someone. Things like that do happen. As we look at enrollment, Mississippi State is down just a little bit, a few students. I think they're down about 22 students, or about 1% down from last year in enrollment. College is high, and I think most universities are seeing the same thing. We do see that, and we rarely see this in the East Mississippi side of new businesses. We see where that aluminum plant is coming to the state of Mississippi, which is going to be humongous. Lowndes County, average pay there will be $93,000. That's a lot. We could use that in East Mississippi, couldn't we? We sure could. We see it to the south, we see it to the west, and we see it to the north. The eastern side just hasn't seen a lot of development lately, have we? Now, if I'm wrong, y'all correct me. We need somebody pulling for us over here, don't we? Thought we used to have an agency that done it, but I could be mistaken. I'm not real sure. I'll check on that and see what we get. As we go back to talk about this next crime, as I brought this up when it happened, and this is Panola County, Mississippi. A supervisor was threatened. As a matter of fact, they wrote a letter, put it in his mailbox, and said that they were going to do some horrible things to him. The sheriff is saying, wait a minute now, folks are wanting to know what's become of it. He sent it off. They are having everything investigated, including DNA on the letter, to see if they can track this to whoever threatened the supervisor. They're taking it as a serious threat. They haven't gotten results back, and he says that they're hurrying as quickly as they can. That's Panola County. Don't be doing things like that. When we get more out of that, we'll let you know. Let's see here what else we've got. University of Mississippi, let's go to Ole Miss, and I should have said this when we were talking about Mississippi State. There was a rumor that got out over at Ole Miss, and they did put on their Facebook page of calm down, that really didn't happen. But a rumor got out that someone was almost abducted at Ole Miss. Something happened, and police were called, but no one ever was in a threat of being abducted. Ole Miss wanting to point that out and get rid of all fears that there's any chance of somebody getting kidnapped. It didn't happen. They posted that to social media over the weekend. So keep that in mind. If you hear that today, tell them it's not true. We all know how rumors spread like wildfire. I heard one last week, and I thought, there's no way. It just didn't sound right. And sure enough, it took me about 4 or 5 days before I got to the end of it, but it was false. Sometimes if things just don't sound right and you go, there's no way, don't believe it off bat. Dig into it. Make sure it's right before you pass it along. I remember talking about this also as we go back up toward Oxford. The mayor of Oxford, the city, had a man that was following her, threatened her. And one of the few times, you always see it in the movies, the Westerns, or is it English in England? Somebody's banned from the county. Get out of the neighborhood, you're banned. Well, they actually did this in Oxford. Banned a man for 5 years to where he couldn't come back from the county. He had to pick up his stuff and move. He was told if he came back, he'd go to jail. Now, he'd done this over and over, and it started out with a restraining order, and it just kept getting worse and worse. I think he was a huge heckler, so to speak. No matter where the mayor went, he heckled, and it got worse and worse, until they banished him from the county for 5 years, with the condition if he showed back up and done anything, he'd go to jail. Well, guess what? He showed back up. He's now going to spend the next year in jail. When he gets out, he'll still have 4 years of being banished from the county, and if he comes back and breaks that again, he will go back to jail for 4 years. Truthfully, I really have not heard of this in modern times. First time for everything. But in jail he goes now for breaking his banishment. Interesting. We go to Illinois next. As most of us in the South are against abortion. We all know that there are people that are for it. We see now that in Illinois, they now have a rolling abortion clinic. They have taken a motorhome and converted it to two, more or less, I guess what you would call them, operating rooms in it, and they travel to the folks that want their services. Illinois is where that's going on, in case you want to know. Sad. Have you seen this yet? Remember the comedian that the redheaded lady, Kathy Griffin? Y'all remember her, who posted that if it'd been anybody else, it'd have been a lot worse. The fake head. Y'all remember that? She has been banned permanently from Twitter over the weekend. Why? This is a no-no, and she should have known better. She faked and changed her account, changed the name of it to Elon Musk, and put his picture on her page. That's a zero tolerance. She has been banned forever from Twitter. The left is not really liking this new Twitter change, are they? They're postponing the $8 charge on the blue check thing until after the elections. We'll see what becomes of that. New York City. I was not aware of this. They've got gangs now that are preying on gay men in New York City. So far, they've killed 2 and drugged and robbed dozens of others. They're demanding that something be done. They're also demanding help on the subways of how many people that have been pushed in front of trains. Crime is out of control in New York City, as it ranks as one of those cities that defunded the police. Our country simply can't continue with things like this, can we? Defunding and letting criminals run the street, making it to where it's a misdemeanor up to $1,000 if you shoplift and, well, you're not charged. Can't happen. Businesses can't survive that way. And I think all of this will roll into tomorrow, what's coming tomorrow, don't y'all? America will decide. Do we continue with defunding the police, things that we mentioned that were going on in Illinois? Will this bring out people to vote? One of the things that I did see that is the top concern, number 1 on that list, was the economy. There's less in everybody's wallet than it was. Number 2 was the abortion thing that's going on in Illinois and other states. It was banned in most deep southern states. Those are some of the top things. We'll talk more about this at 8 o'clock of what is on the minds of everybody as they cast ballots tomorrow. Should be a huge turnout tomorrow as we get ready for midterms. No matter what side of the fence that you're on, that you're watching me. Maybe it's Mississippi, maybe it's Alabama, maybe you're up north, maybe you're in New York watching, Colorado, and these areas. Vote. It truly is the American way. No matter whether you agree with me or not, make sure that you cast your ballot and that you're heard. That's the only way. Now, with this being said, y'all remember the good old days when you had an election and by 9 o'clock that night, maybe 10:30, you knew who won? They really don't know as they forecast this. They say it could be a mere hours or it could be days, even longer, on some of these tight elections before we'll know who wins. It's going to be interesting for sure. It's getting down to about 4 races, Dr. Oz being one of those, of who will decide takes control of the House and the Senate. We'll see. With this being said, Biden made a mistake yesterday. No more drilling. That's had an effect on your wallet, hasn't it? That's a few of the headlines taking place. We're going to check your forecast next. Y'all don't rush off. We'll be right back. The Precast Group, offering you the best selection when it comes to a storm shelter. Located on 145 South in Meridian, where they offer above-ground shelters that can be installed in your home as you're built-in, are conveniently located right outside your home if it's already built. They also offer storm shelters that can be installed in a slight bank or on flat ground. Protect your family today with a very affordable storm shelter from the Precast Group. Highway 145 South, 601-482-0003. The Precast Group. Don't forget, as we go to Meridian Honda radar, we are under a dense fog advisory throughout the area. Lauderdale, Clark, Kemper, all of this area. But the closest that we're showing right now of heavy fog will be north of us as we go to Winston County, Louisville, Kosciuszko. These areas here north of us and fast moving into the Starkville area this morning. Also, Caledonia, Amory, Mississippi, those areas, a lot of fog moving in on you, so be careful if you've got to travel in northern Mississippi this morning, especially Highway 45 as you go further up north. Be careful.
Your forecast is brought to you by EMEPA, your Touchstone Energy Cooperative.
As we go back for our record highs, our record lows, it was 05 that we had a warm day of 86 today. As we go back to 1959, it was 28 degrees as I failed to put the other mark on there. Whoops. 1959. It reminds me of, what was that, a John Anderson song? 1959. Y'all remember that? Today we expect it to be sunny and nearly a record breaker. It won't quite make it, but we see that Meridian will see 85 today as we go north to Philadelphia. 84 Columbus, Starkville area, and a little bit cooler in Greenwood as they'll see some showers. We're already seeing some of that up there this morning. As we go south, Laurel, 85, Hattiesburg as well, all the way toward the Mississippi Gulf Coast. As we go east into Bamaland, Tuscaloosa, as they are in training again today, 85. 84 is what we'll see in Demopolis, and we'll see a warm, sunny 85 there in Livingston, Alabama as well. And again, this limited threat here, and we are seeing this morning of this fog in these areas, more so here now than back in this general direction. Areas of fog through 9 o'clock today. We'll see that we have a cooling trend coming. It's not here yet, but it is coming. Let's go ahead and jump into our 7-day forecast as we look at today. 85, a little bit cooler tomorrow, with a high of 85. Okay, 1 degree, that's not really cooler, is it? But a drastic change in between Tuesday and Wednesday, down to 73 for a high on Wednesday with a nighttime low of 50. Now let's go on toward the weekend. Do y'all see this? As we get to Saturday, only a high of 60, and by Sunday, a high of 57. You better break out the jacket. We may need it one way or the other. From our good friends there at Wilson Saw and Outdoor. Let's go ahead and look another week. Look at this, 50s for at least a week there through the 18th. And we'll get back to 60 on the 20th of November, just in time to get Thanksgiving a little bit warmer. We'll watch all of this closely. Again, it's Mother Nature. It'll change a little bit between now and then, but that's the forecast on that. As we take a look here, Florida, get ready. I don't have the right one. I don't know why I didn't do this. We're looking as we do have a tropical storm that is making its way. Let's go to radar this morning so I can show you this. That is making its way toward Florida. And this should make impact by the weekend. That's what we're expecting here. Let's pull this up so you can see this. As we pull in, this is going to be Tropical Storm Nicole as she makes her way toward Florida. As this morning, she's running at 46 miles an hour, moving north-northwest at 14 miles an hour as we come along here. She will come in just around Fort Pierce, and we're looking for this late Thursday. By Friday, it'll be on this side of Florida, back into the Gulf, and then cut back into Florida toward Georgia. Now, at this point, it's still saying that when it comes ashore, it'll have winds of about 69 miles an hour. We're a few days away from this, so this event could change a little bit, and this could upgrade to a Cat 1. But Florida braces at least for a tropical storm to hit sometime Thursday, Friday on that time frame. There'll be a little bit of adjustment. We'll watch it closely to keep you updated with all of this. It'll be right after the midterms. Y'all pay attention there. Let's look at our fishing forecast. We go to Chet's Paint and Body today for November the 7th. 10 o'clock this morning. Okay, let's call it 11. That really is 11. 11 until 1 is when our best fishing time will happen. And then late, a minor time when you're getting off work to about 6 o'clock if you want to take a chance at it. An average day of fishing will have light northeast wind becoming northeast 5 to 10 today. And that's a quick look at it. We'll be back in 1 hour from now. Thank y'all for joining us, and we'll get you updated on everything that's going on. Y'all make sure that you're with us. We look forward to it. Candace will be here as well. It all gets underway at 8 a.m. this morning. Thanks and God bless. We'll see you soon at the Scotty Ray Report.
The Scotty Ray Report is brought to you by our following partners: